Okay. I'm here to have a mini revelation talk that I had about the idea of when you do something that makes you so freaking proud of yourself and how you recover from that. And I understand now what people are talking about when they talk about nervous system regulation and being able to expand your nervous system to be able to handle when good things come in. Because today I challenged myself like I've never challenged myself before. I feel like the lighting really, really aids to this. to this. I feel like it really just does something. So I challenged myself today by doing a volunteer program with a really big music festival that we have in Austin. And the challenge with that was parking, trying a shuttle for the first time in Austin. I've done it in other countries, but again, that's other countries. I don't know why this one scared me more. But it's just it's a lot of unknown. And there wasn't a lot of information that was kind of sent out before. So it was really, really talking on the fly with people and going with the flow. Truly, genuinely. And I know that's my brand of like flow and finding flow and learning how to navigate that. But that is much easier to do now for me internally rather than externally. And I know that there are people who can navigate the external a lot easier than they can navigate their internal. That's where I come in. You know what I mean? I'm here to help you navigate your internal flow. Now, when we go outside, that's a different beast. When we're talking about all these other elements that come into it, that is a different beast. And so I really had to challenge myself in that case. And the shift itself, I was like in this moment where I had this like neon pink vest on and I had this sign that says ask me questions. And I was all alone and so much of the information I just didn't know. I'm just not as familiar with the city as much. Like I'm familiar with Austin, right? But I'm not familiar with the city inside of it. And there was just so many questions that were coming through, and I was just like, this big imposter syndrome started to creep in. And it was just like, you don't know what you're doing. You should just go home. And I was like, shut up. I named that voice and I just named her Janet. And I was just like, shut up, Janet. You don't know what you're talking about, okay? You are trying to talk me out of these dreams that I have and I don't like it. So shut up, Janet. So I told Janet to shut up many, many times because there was so many times where I was like, I could just leave. I could just leave. I could leave and no one would know a thing. I'd be fine. And I didn't. And there were a couple of other times in the night where I was just like, should we just go home? Should we just, should we just go with the flow? Should we just do what everybody else is doing? And like numerous times I was like, no, we're not doing that. And even there was even a moment where there were some people that I had met previously in the day. And I was like, should I go sit with them? Maybe they have connections. And I was like, we're not doing that anymore. I used to have a really bad habit of wanting to connect with people just for their connections because I was in such a survival state. And it didn't mean that I didn't want to be around them. It just meant that the driving force of me wanting to be around them and like sit with them or talk with them or anything was because of my survival state of mind. And I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not. I've made that decision up many, many, many times in my life these past few months. And I was like, I'm not, if I'm doing it to get something out of it, then that's not a real connection. And I am dedicated to having real connections in my life. So again, that was just another thing I was really proud of. So I sat with myself instead of like going to go sit with them. Not because I didn't want to hang out with them because they were cool, but I was just like, I know right now I need to sit with myself on this volunteer break. I need to just And then when I came back, I came back with a vengeance, baby. I was like, oh my God, I was Pippi Longstockings up there. I was like, yeah, you can go here, go here. Yeah, I don't know that. Let me ask my other teammate. Like, I was on fire. It was amazing. And so I knew I had made those right decisions. And then there was also this moment where all of us volunteers were leaving, and I was like, should I leave with everybody? And I was like, no, I'm going to take myself to the bathroom. I want to feel comfortable. And I see the shuttle, and I'm like, oh, well, that worked out. Perfect timing there. And it's just me and this man, the bus driver. His name is Ken. Shout out to Ken. Ken Lemon. Ken Lemon. Man, he was amazing. Um, and so we're just driving through the city and, doing a little route, and this woman gets on board, and she's this she's this just very straightforward British woman, and not really like chiming in on like our conversations or anything like that, but she's trying to get to see Lola Young, which I didn't know this at the time. But we're just talking, and we have to like take the long way around the route, and something just randomly comes to my brain. I'm like, where are you going? Because it's just us two on this bus with Ken. I'm like, where are you going? And she was like, I'm going to try to go see the end of Lola Young's set. And I was like, get out. Like, so I was the only person today that I had my eyes on to go see, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to, yada, yada, yada. I was like, I feel like I need to go home with my dog, yada, yada. And then I was like, Joe, this is a sign. You need to go with this British woman to go see the end of Lola Young's set. I was like, you've walked your dog super well. You properly supported her food for this exact reason. You left a pee pad out. Like, go have fun. And so I caught the last of her 3 songs. I cried. Because this was just a moment where I realized how happy I was doing something for myself. And so the realization that I'm having with all of this is, now that I'm home, I've walked my dog. I had so much energy inside of me, and it was so much good energy. Like, and it was just this feeling of like, what is this? And I didn't recognize it until maybe like 15, 20 minutes into it. And I was like, I think this is like what being proud of yourself feels like at an atomic sub level, at a bone density, a bone marrow level. Even now talking about it, like my back, which is where I felt it the most, my back is just like, I'm like, relax, babe, relax. And so as I'm feeling this joy, luckily, my magic understandings actually started with Crimson Minx, and she is a specialist and an owner for esoerotic magic. And that is essentially to access magic inside of your body. So because I have that foundation of my witchcraft, of my magic, of my spirituality is movement, I knew to dance. But then I also had this feeling of like, well, maybe we should garden, like maybe I should take a stress relief natural supplement. And it just made me really understand when people who are artists get off of stage and they do have drinks or they do have substances. It made me understand that when it's not even that we have it or we don't. When we don't build the capacity to accept being so proud of ourselves for doing something very scary. Being up in front of people can be scary. Doing something we love in front of people can be scary. Being vulnerable can be scary, depending on how you look at it, right? I'm learning to see it as a part of I heard someone say it like this of like if it's like your ministry. Like thinking about it like less as oh I'm performing for these people and more of I have this gift and I'm going to be a channel for this gift. Doing all of that creates such pride in ourselves. But if we can't identify it as pride, if we can't identify it as being proud of ourselves, because I feel like I don't want pride and being proud of ourselves to feel like they're separate because I feel like they're the same. And I know that pride is like one of the seven deadly sins. But obviously there's some balance here, right? There's a little bit of balance. Being proud of ourselves feels freaking good. It just feels it is and maybe I'll get better at explaining what it feels like because it just feels like joy with like little spikes on it right now. Not scary spikes, but just these little spikes, little like ooh, little tingles. But if I didn't know to dance, if I didn't know like okay, this is just it's just in my body. It doesn't mean that like something's wrong. It doesn't mean you have to panic. It doesn't mean you have to quiet it. It doesn't mean you have to shut it down. It doesn't mean they have to drink it away. It doesn't mean you have to smoke it away. It just means that it's in your body. And if you dance, if you move, if you talk, if you can just me doing this, if you can express it, then that also softens it. So I made myself like a hot cup of tea instead. And it was almost like at the first sip, I was like, I'm good. I can do this. I can handle this. I have been working on expanding my nervous system so that I can handle this. And I think that just like added to the feeling proud of myself. But now instead of feeling it so much in my back, I'm feeling it as just like just my smile because I was able to work it out of my body. And I think that when we feel things in our body, it can feel scary. And that's why I'm really, really grateful for the mentors that I've had in my life and for dance, for movement magic. It is I, I don't want to. You know what? I don't care how you think. I don't care how you think about this. It saved my life, and I think that as I continue to explore all of my talents, I really feel like that is going to continue to save my life. I think movement and dancing wildly, dancing freely, dancing stupidly, dancing sexily is going to continue to save my life and to continue to let me handle these big feelings in my body. And that when there are artists who don't have foundations like this, because this could be anything. This could be just like, oh, I just need to go ride a bike. This could be anything for anyone. Oh, like I'm having all these feelings. I need to paint something. Oh, I'm having all these feelings. I need to, you know, go do jumping jacks. Like whatever it is for people. Like for me, it's dance, but it could be anything for anybody. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, I've just performed for all these people. It can just be anything that makes you feel so good in your body that you're like, my body is reacting in a way that I have never experienced before. And that's totally valid. And it's not to say that if you go to drinking or if you go to substances, you're a bad person. No, it's not that. It's just being able to say that we can find safety in our own bodies when we aren't sure where safety is going to come from. And that feels good. I ended up after the Lil Young concert, after my crying. I love crying. I don't. I do. I love being able to cry. Um, but you get it. You get it. It's great. It's great, and it's also lots of feelings. Um, but it did feel really good. So after my crying and Lily Young, I'm like literally walking out, talking to security. I was like, y'all, that was therapy. Thanks, y'all. That was therapy. Yeah, I just went to therapy. And I'm like walking around. I'm trying to find where the heck to get back on another shuttle because Ken did us a service because he was like, okay, you guys are both going to Lily Young. It's not just this British lady who ain't laughing at any of our jokes. Cool. I'm gonna get y'all there sooner. So he takes us back road, so I don't know where the actual shuttle is, which I'm grateful for. But I don't know where this freaking shuttle stop is supposed to be. So I don't know where the next bus is supposed to come. And I was like, okay, all right, we're gonna have to pivot. And I was like, okay, Joe, but you don't have much pivot money and you're going to be volunteering for the next couple of days. Like, I need you to really be smart about this. And I was like, okay. But there was this woman that came up behind me. She was a pedicab driver. And she was like, need rides? Rides? And I was like, Joe, this woman is right behind you. It was perfectly planned. I was just like, she's right behind you. And I told her where I needed to go, and she's like, I wouldn't be able to. That would be $40. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And she's like, well, what could you do? And we'll see. And I was like, I had 25. I could do that comfortably. She's like, okay, I'll get you here, and you can walk the rest of the way. And I was like, I could do that. So again, it was just another thing I was really really proud of because it's like midnight downtown, and it's a great beautiful city, but we are still lacking resources when it comes to supporting everybody. And and I marched. I did. And I just kept telling myself, like, you can do this. And luckily I have my best friend who has is a fan of being able to walk, um, and sees that as a blessing as well. And I'm a suburban kid. I grew up in the burbs. You had a car or you had your bike. There wasn't like, and if you were walking, you weren't walking in a city. Like, you were walking in the burbs. Every single house looks the same. There's no stores or nothing. You're burbs. You're walking through a neighborhood and then another neighborhood and then another neighborhood linked to that one. So yeah, it's just a lot of things that happened tonight that I was just so proud of myself for. And I'm sure for the average person, they're just like, that's what you're proud of? You didn't even sell it in an arena? Not yet. Okay. Okay. I'm working on those crafts. But yeah. And I think honestly what I'm the most proud of is consistently checking in with myself, telling Janet to shut up, and allowing myself to give myself what I need. Because there was even this moment where this woman had came up and she was asking some questions and she was kind of like, what do you guys do? And like, like out of here and stuff like that. And I was like, well, right now I'm looking for a job. And she's like, what kind of job are you looking for? And I was like, here's my criteria. I want somewhere I can feel safe, I can feel seen, I can feel celebrated, and I get paid really well for it. And she was just like, okay, like that took me a long time to find, yada yada. And I was just like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So I was like, old me would have just sat with that and would have been like, you're just shitting on my dreams. But I said, no, my teammate can handle this conversation. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Like, I'm gonna get out of this vicinity because I don't need that. I don't need nor want that energy around me. I don't want your comments around me, and I don't need you to project your job's suffering onto me when I already survived that. And not to say that anything is going to be perfect, but I am proud of my criteria. And for people who intentionally or unintentionally just shit on it, like that's not something I'm excited to be around. And so therefore I won't. So lots of things to just really feel proud of myself. And on the way home, on the way home, I was like screaming. I was like, I did this, I did this, I talked to Ken, I did took the shuttle, I walked. Like I just like going through all the things I was proud of because I just didn't want to stuff it all down. Because that's another thing I think that people can do when they're really proud of themselves is they can, go to substances, they can go to drinking, they can go to, habits that may not make them feel the best. Or the other option is they just like and they just like stuff it gross. And they just like stuff it all the way down and just kind of ignore it. Like it's fine. It's average. And then potentially, because I don't know this, I don't know that experience. Potential, maybe I do, because there have been times where I have been really excited. And I'm just like, shh, be normal. And at least from my perspective, it almost says there's nothing to be excited for. That made me really sad. Do people think that? Yeah, they do, because it makes me want to cry. Ugh, okay. This is not my energy. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Yeah. You guys got to celebrate the little stuff, the big stuff. That shit almost brought me to fucking tears. God damn. Whew. I was like, that's not fine. Yeah, y'all gotta please celebrate. I don't care if that's screaming in the car. I don't care if that's singing a little ditty of you being like, I drove the shuttle with a kid and I walked all by myself and I did this and that and I saw you young. Like, I don't care what you do. I don't care. Just do it and make it silly because it feels way better than almost making your local channeler and spirit guide being cry during one of our videos. Okay. All right. This felt good. This felt really good. May we continue to do things we are very proud of. May we continue to process what that feels like. May we practice being proud of ourselves so that way when there are things that happen, our bodies may not go into as big of a shock. So, bye everybody. See you later. I'm so proud of you. Even if you don't feel like you're proud of yourself right now, I'm proud of you. Okay. Okay. Bye.